This is ET. Before we get into this video, I want to tell you that ET has another YouTube channel. It's called Peculiar History. I'll put a link in the description below if I can figure it out. And another thing, this channel, ET's Ramblings, deals, as many of you know already, primarily with athletes of the pre-steroid eras. And we look at athletes from primarily the United States and Western Europe. But it's time now to put the light on some of the other greats from Eastern Europe, Asia, Africa, and today the Middle East. This here is Ghulam Muhammad Bakhsh Bhatt, also known as the Great Gama, wrestling champion of India and the world, and arguably the greatest wrestler ever, undefeated during a very long career. First, a note regarding professional wrestling. During the first one-third of the 20th century, this was a serious sport. It resembled a cross between, say, mixed martial arts and Greco-Roman wrestling, more than it does today's professional wrestling. But let's go back to what we'd call real wrestling and take a look at the best of them all, the Great Gama. He was born in 1878. Rutherford B. Hayes was U.S. President, and he died in 1960 in his 80s. Dwight Eisenhower was about to leave office. Gama came from a family of noted wrestlers from the Kashmir region of what was then India. His family converted to Islam. Gama first came to public notice when he was 10 years old. He was declared the victor in a strength wrestling competition against about 400 other, mostly men. And the result of that was the Maharaja of that area took responsibility for Gama's training. At age 17, Gama achieved nationwide fame throughout India by wrestling the country's champion, Rahim Bakhsh Sultanawala, a very famed Kashmiri athlete with an extremely impressive win-lose record. Gama, being so young, he was 3 years from age 20 and so small, about 200 pounds, and he stood somewhere between 5'7" and 5'8". He was expected to lose. Sultanawala stood almost a foot taller at 6 feet 9 inches, and he weighed much more than Gama. But the result of the bout, it took several hours. Gama was on the defensive, but he was never beaten. Did he win? No. Months later, he fought again, the great Sultanawala, and this time Gama was on the offensive. Now, like the first bout, it ended up a no decision, but popular opinion then was that Gama was the victor. Gama went on to defeat all of his country's competition. So, in 1910, Gama, with his brother and an entourage, traveled to England. England at that time is the Mecca for professional wrestling. Now, the rules there then were catch as catch style. In other words, catch a hold anywhere you can. The rules were more open than are today's Greco-Roman style of wrestling, which says no holding below the belt. A wrestler would submit if he taps out or rolls on his back. Now, usually the style then did not include kicks or blows. And by the way, this style was practiced by two United States presidents, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. I've done a video about that. Now, Gama, in England, issues challenges, but nobody takes him up. He's too small, he's too unknown. So Gama upped the ante, said, I'll take on 3 wrestlers of any weight class, and I'll win within half an hour. Then he got specific. He openly challenged Stanislas Zbyszko from Poland and Frank Gotch of the United States. Gotch was not in England at the time. These two, Zbyszko and Gotch, are considered number 2 and 1 in the world, respectively. Well, still, nobody took Gama up until one American did. It was Dr. Benjamin Roller, medical doctor, MD. He was an Illinois farm boy who dreamed of becoming a doctor. He would earn college money by doing manual labor and later on playing pro football. After his graduation, he helped write a pretty well-known medical textbook. He became a professor of physiology at the University of Washington. He had his own medical office, and he made a lot of money until the Panic of 1907, at which time he gets into wrestling. His first match earned him over $1,500. He went on to wrestle the best, including Gotch. He eventually took Gama's challenge, as you know, in 1910. And here's what happened in the ring. Roller, much larger than his opponent, was pinned the first time in 1 minute 40 seconds. In the second bout, he was pinned in 10 minutes, and he got 2 broken ribs. After that bout, Roller said the Great Gama could defeat anybody, including Frank Gotch. About a month later, in September of 1910, Gama cannot be ignored by the big names. So Stanislas Zbyszko takes the challenge. As I mentioned before, he is considered number 2 in the world, right behind the legendary Frank Gotch. One announcer who took a look at him before the match with Gama said, Zbyszko shows a strong build of body and muscle. Now this match was for 250 pounds prize money. That would be roughly $5,000 in 2021 money. And more important, it was for the John Bull belt. This signifies the champion. The bout was, by all accounts, dominated by Gama. Zbyszko was taken down within a minute, and for most of the 2.5-hour match, he remained there, as they put it then, hugging the mat. It was finally called because of lateness of the hour, and a second match was planned for the following week. The result of that, Zbyszko did not show, and Gama won by default. He got the prize money and the John Bull belt. That signified Gama was the champion of the world, albeit not the lineal champion, because he had not beaten Zbyszko. Well, there's much more to Gama's story, and not just his ring career, but E.T. wants to tell you his opinion regarding why the Great Gama was never defeated in well over 200 bouts. In fact, nobody's sure how many he fought. Let's take a peek at Gama's diet and exercise routines during his training periods. Gama took in his food, nothing processed in the Western sense. He did take in fermented foods, the value of which is only now being discovered by Western science. He ate a lot of raw dairy. He ate a lot of almonds, a lot of fresh fruits. Here are some examples. 10 liters of milk, again, raw milk. 1.5 pounds of desi chicken karhai. Half a liter of lassi. 6 pounds of butter. 3 buckets of fruit chaat. 2 kilo of pakare. 6 samosa. He took in fruit juices and yogurt. His training included grappling, wrestling, sometimes with 40 of his entourage. He did 5,000 baithaks. That's a Hindustani word for squats. The average speed, according to witnesses, was 100 to 200 squats per minute. He did 3,000 dons, Hindustani for push-ups. The average speed, 50 to 100 per minute. He did all these in a day. He didn't necessarily do them all at one time. Sometimes he did more than the numbers I gave you. And when he did these, he would be often wearing a hosli, a donut-shaped apparatus that weighed about 100 kilos, as today a person might wear a weight belt. And that's pretty much it on the Great Gama. As I said, I could go on and on. One interesting note, his granddaughter became the wife of the most powerful person in Pakistan. That's another story. Anyway, put in your comments below, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Thank you.